prison special session vote on Tuesday, thousands run in Sioux Falls, and a warm welcome to fall. This is Inside the Newsroom, and I'm your host, Maddie Paul. Inside the Newsroom, we bring you the trending stories of the KELOLAND area, and the best part, we bring in our newsroom staff members to talk about the stories that you see every day on our newscasts and online at KELOLAND.com. I hope you all had a really wonderful weekend. I know I really enjoyed myself outside. I thought it was very warm, very humid, even though I spent most of my time in Iowa this weekend. I wonder how Sioux Falls shaped up. Scott?
Ankeny. How was Ankeny? That's
Ankeny.
right.
I was in Ankeny.
Yeah. How was that?
It was great. I got to see
Good.
a friend that I haven't seen in a long time, actually. So seeing her was wonderful. And Ankeny, I learned, is really like a suburb of Iowa. Or not
Of
Iowa.
Iowa? Yeah,
not
the whole
Iowa.
state?
Des Moines. Of Des Moines. We were in Des Moines a lot. But we went to an apple orchard, I believe, near
Oh, that's
Cambridge.
right.
I forget what it was called, but I know it
Okay.
was near Cambridge. Picked some apples. Lots of good
Good.
ones.
Good.
Only the ripe ones. What else did we do? We played a little bit of
You
tennis.
left the ones on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of bees out. I was
Oh,
kind of
I'm
surprised
sure,
by
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The Minnesotans coming out.
Fall. If I was from Minnesota.
If you were from Minnesota, it's coming out. Oh, yeah. But I had a really wonderful time. I thought it was going to be really cold because she warned me that it was going to be cool and cloudy. But the sun was out in Iowa. The humidity was there.
It was cold, and because we had highs, what, in the 70s and 80s, that's cold for you, right?
Stop. No, because it
been
was so
through
humid.
this.
I know, but it was so humid. Humid. I was surprised. And now it's fall all of a sudden. And we're going to
Yeah.
be having like, what, 70
Above
degree,
average. Yeah.
80 degree weather?
70s, 80s on occasion. Over the weekend, we were in the lower 80s. I had to turn the air back on, which is fine. You have to do that when it gets too warm in the house. So I was able to do that. Spent some time outdoors doing a lot of work around the house.
You're busy.
Busy bee, speaking of bees.
Yep.
And this week, looking dry. There may be an isolated shower, thunder shower, maybe this evening in and around Sioux Falls. Better chance for the rain in western, southwestern South Dakota. And then as we get beyond tonight, looks like dry skies. They'll go all the way through this coming weekend as temperatures stay in the 70s and 80s. So you may want to start the day with a jacket.
Okay.
I'm talking to you.
Yeah,
Maddie.
I knew you were talking to me.
Okay. And then, shed that jacket, and then
let it
I think you'll be
loose.
fine in the afternoon as we'll be warm.
As long as the sun's out, as long as it's warm. What's your favorite, what's like a favorite element that you like about fall?
Well, the cool overnights and the warm afternoons. But the overnights haven't been that cool. We'll fall to the 50s this week. Last week, I think we stayed in the 60s.
Ooh,
And that's above average. I think the average low is around 50 degrees now.
that's crazy.
And we'll be close to that, maybe a little bit above average. But I like that part of it. I like looking at the leaves changing colors.
I was waiting for you to say the leaves.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you know me. I don't really enjoy picking them up all the time.
Oh, yeah, raking it.
But I know it's a chore that you have to do when you own a house. And as long as they're dry and they're not wet, it makes it a lot easier.
These were photos that we took last week when we did a fall foliage story about what we're going to expect in the Midwest. I believe our story included South Dakota, of
Those are
course,
nice.
Iowa,
Red
and
ones.
Minnesota. And I'm just interested to see as our photojournalists keep going out and keep recording different things of the area, like how quickly leaves will turn that red, because the red isn't one of my favorites.
I made the comment to Melanie yesterday. I go, you just have to look around the neighborhood, and it seems like every day these leaves are starting to change.
Yeah.
And I pointed out a couple of around the neighborhood. She's like, yeah, they are. In that tender voice that she has.
Of course. Very good, Scott. There's only one tree that stood out in my neighborhood that's like been completely red and already has like everything fallen off of it. It just makes me so interested because the trees around it are still pretty green and they're still holding on to their leaves. And I'm always just like,
It depends on the type of tree.
yeah.
What kind of stress, if it had any stress.
Yeah, or
you know,
like
with
the moisture.
With water, the moisture in it too. So I've seen a couple of trees like that around town before where it seems like, oh, wow, that one's really changing early. But I think it all depends on the type of tree.
Okay.
Most of it depends on the type of tree. And, of course, whatever stress that may be having with the moisture too.
We've talked before, now that we're talking about fall, you don't really like pumpkin spice.
No.
That's not your thing. But what if you had to choose between like a
Oh,
hot...
hey, this or that?
This or that. This or that. Okay. What about like what would you prefer?
A hot beverage or a cold beverage?
Close. A hot apple cider or a hot chocolate?
I would go with the chocolate.
Over apple cider?
Yeah, because you could still add marshmallows to that. Maybe a drizzle of chocolate or even caramel sauce on top.
I thought you weren't a sweet
Maybe some
tooth.
whipped cream.
I mean, that's the perfect drink.
Sometimes I indulge. Yep. Especially after snow, shoveling the driveway.
Two S words.
I was waiting for you. I was looking on your side of the screen just to see the reaction you would have.
I'm sure you're talking about those S words today on whether or not.
I'm walking through the newsroom this morning. It's like, I heard you say the S word. Yeah.
Well, because we did.
Part of the job.
Yeah.
And not talk about that on whether or not. That's something that we've been talking about since the last week of August. And we're continuing to talk about because we're in snow season. Really, when you think about it, yeah, we could get snow.
At any time.
But we won't. I mean, won't anytime soon.
This is fall. Come on, look at my headline. Dry and warm. We're not talking about S words here.
Boy.
Not this show.
Am I leading this show today?
You
First
sure
one
are.
up?
You sure
Off
are.
the bat? Wow.
Well, actually, we're out of time, so this is the end of your time, Scott. But I appreciate
asking
your time
too many
here.
questions to you.
No.
You're supposed to ask them to me,
No,
right?
I like it. I like when you ask me questions. We are out of time. Scott, I love when you're here at the digital desk. Thank you for
Thanks for
chatting
having me.
and leading the show.
Oh, yeah.
Scott leads the show.
Look forward to do it again sometime soon.
Well, speaking of leading, there were thousands that ran in Sioux Falls on Sunday for one of our marathons here in town. We're going to have our reporter talk about just that up next on Inside the Newsroom. And welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. Finishing a marathon is one of the most challenging feats someone can accomplish, but runners from all over the country did just that during the Sioux Falls Marathon. In fact, Jordan DeSmit was there, and he caught up with an organizer and a runner with a lofty goal.
Between the full and half marathons and the 5K, over 2,000 runners took part in the event.
We have runners from 48 out of the 50 states represented here today. The only two that we were missing was Alabama and Wyoming, surprisingly with Wyoming, but otherwise everybody else was represented.
Organizers are also excited to have the full marathon this year after having to cancel it last year due to the heat.
It was a nice breath of not only fresh air, but a nice relief to have the full go today because it's all the hard work that led to it. It's really 2 years now of build up for it that when the air horn sounded and everybody went, it was truly special.
Each runner has their own story, including David Winstead of Arkansas.
Wife and I are on a mission to run all 50 states, run a half in all 50 states. And we are currently 6 away from completing our goal. And she said, hey, you want to run Sioux Falls? And I said, sure. So we ended up here.
It's been quite the journey for the Winsteads.
You see sights that you never see if you just stay in your hometown. You need to get out and see things. Just like here in Sioux Falls, I'd never dreamed this is what Sioux Falls was like.
David also has some advice for anyone who wants to give running a try.
Folks, anybody can run. All you got to do is put one foot in front of the other.
Just one step at a time from start to finish.
A great example. And Jordan DeSmit joins us now at the digital desk to talk more about this story. Jordan, it's been so long since you've sat in front of me before.
I know. I've had just a weird schedule lately with helping out with football and stuff, but I'm glad to be back.
I know, on your sports schedule, which is fine. And, you know, it's funny because I was going to ask you if this is like, do you think this is a sports story, like doing something like this? But honestly, it really wasn't because you covered a lot of topics in this piece, like concerning the weather and comparisons from now over the past couple of years with the marathon, and then even like attendance levels. Why did you decide to include all of these elements in this specific story?
Because for one, when I asked about attendance, I thought that was a number that was kind of jarring. Oh, over 2,000 people were running in Sioux Falls. I thought that was important to say, and especially given the fact that, I mean, this is also another thing to add is this was a Boston Marathon qualifier. So if you ran well enough in this one, you could run in the Boston Marathon, which, I mean, I think a lot of people know that's a very prestigious marathon, right? So when you have that and 48 out of the 50 states represented and some international runners, I felt like that's a big deal and something that's worth mentioning. And
it's worth mentioning because I loved your interviewees for this story, especially David, like hearing his side. And one quote that stood out to me was he said, "I never dreamed this is what Sioux Falls was like." Like, that just seemed like such a golden moment. He was just so amazed that he was hearing what Sioux Falls had to offer. I was just like, that was an aha moment for me. And Jordan, would you say that interview was pretty special and helped shape the story?
100%. And I kid you not, he was the first person I came across that morning. First person I talked to. And so I was thinking maybe I'll talk to a couple runners and I think that'll be good. But after I talked with him, I'm like, nope, I do not need another runner. His story is very much good enough. And so I think it's always really cool to interview people that are from out of town and just ask them about Sioux Falls. And it's cool because I think the main consensus I get from people is, yeah, Sioux Falls is pretty cool. It's better than I thought. So.
Yeah, I like that little tie into it. I was going to ask you how you found your interviewees for this story, and knowing that you just kind of found David and you were able to shape the story around him. Is that something that usually happens for you when you get to go out to stories like this, especially like a weekend event like this?
Sometimes. I mean, I think it's really cool when I just stumble across someone with an awesome story like that. Doesn't always happen like that, but I can always make it work and still make the story good. I mean, even if it was maybe just a couple of your normal runners who just like running, I could have definitely made that work too. But it's really cool that I was able to find a compelling story at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning.
If anything, what do you hope viewers can take away from the story?
I mean, I would say that, I was really impressed just with the atmosphere and the encouraging atmosphere. And, I think I went into it thinking, there's no shot I could do something like this. But I think just understand that, look, I think if you put your mind to something, I think if you want to do something enough, I think you can go ahead and do it. So I think there was a lot of people there who maybe you look at them and think, oh, maybe they're not a runner, but they finished, right? So I think that's really cool and something you can take away from it.
Wow. Is there anything else you'd like viewers to know about this story, Jordan?
I would say it was worth getting up that early to cover this. Yeah, I was back in time to watch the Vikings game, so I was happy about that.
Wow, what a story. Well, Jordan, thank you so much for being here at the Digital Desk. And everyone, stick around. Up next, we're going to look at the Empire Mall over the years with some photos and interesting archives. Stay with us. Inside the Newsroom, we'll be back after the break. And welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. The Empire Mall will celebrate its 50th birthday this week with a ribbon cutting. KELOLAND News was there on opening day back in 1975 when traffic lined 41st Street as eager shoppers lined up to get a glimpse at the 75 stores that they had at the time. And here's a look back at some of the photos from our KELOLAND News archives. Now, the anniversary celebration will be happening this week on Wednesday, September 24th from 4:30 to 6:30 at night. And I will say for these photos that we're showing you right now, our digital reporter Marissa had to search through the archives to find these historic photos. In fact, all of these photos and more details about this story can be found on KELOLAND.com. And something that's really special about hearing about this story is it just reminded me that there is always something new happening on KELOLAND News. We continue to grow from searching through archival tapes to now searching for old stories digitally. I am constantly reminded that KELOLAND News shapes around its viewers, which is why we now have KELOLAND Plus. And it's easy to download on any Fire, Roku, Apple, and Samsung Smart TV. And really the best part about it is that it's free. We offer live newscasts, Captain 11 specials, KELOLAND Living, sports and weather updates, videos on demand, and of course, KELOLAND Plus original shows. So this is Inside the Newsroom, and we talk about trending stories from the perspective of Newsroom staff members who created those stories. And then we have Weather or Not with meteorologists Scott Munt and Brian Karstens talking about long-form weather-related content, or not. And then Sports Zone All Access, just giving you a deeper look into what makes local sports the heart of the KELOLAND community. But now we have a new show, Boredom Busters. Every Friday at 5:30 at night and Saturday at 8 in the morning, you can hear from Perry Groten and myself about weekend events and activities going on around KELOLAND. Perry reads his iconic list, which he reads actually in the newscasts on the weekend mornings, both Saturday and Sunday. He still will be doing that on the newscast, but with Boredom Busters, the KELOLAND Plus show, it's all in one spot ready for you to go on Friday night and Saturday morning, so you get a full preview. you. But we also bring in community leaders to talk about the events that are going on throughout the weekend. In fact, our reporter, Jordan DeSmit, who you just saw here on Inside the Newsroom, got to hear a little bit more from Perry and myself about what to expect with our new show, Boredom Busters. Here's a little preview for you. It is time for Perry to read the list, the Boredom Busters list, and we're going to...
Right after the 5 o'clock newscast every Friday, viewers can tune into our new show, Boredom Busters, on KELOLAND Plus. It features Perry Groten and Maddie Paul.
I was going to tell viewers what's going on Saturdays and Sundays and all kinds of family events, fundraisers, etc.
Viewers can see community leaders and supporters come in to the digital space with Perry and I and talk about their weekend events and activities. You may also see some of our meteorologists and even our own reporters come in.
You can also watch every Saturday at 8 a.m. and on demand. It stems from a segment that has been part of KELOLAND's weekend morning shows for decades.
Ever since we started our Saturday morning newscast back in the late 1990s, we had a version of Boredom Busters on the show. And it's kind of grown throughout the years. It's a very popular feature on our newscasts. I hear from people all the time wondering what's going to be on Boredom Busters.
It's a show that might be a boredom buster in itself for our viewers.
It's supposed to be, I hope at least, something more lighthearted. Again, Perry brings the smiles, and so I want it to kind of emulate something like that.
This is definitely something that's going to keep you from being bored this weekend.
Jordan DeSmit, KELOLAND News.
Perry still just makes me laugh. I have a lot of fun with Perry. We've already had 2 episodes that have been for Boredom Busters. And whether you're looking for food, family-friendly fun, or just a way to give back, Boredom Busters, the KELOLAND Plus original show, will show you those local weekend events and activities that really just bring neighbors together. And you can join Perry and myself every Friday at 5:30 at night and Saturday at 8 in the morning, only here on KELOLAND Plus for new episodes of Boredom Busters. Now, everybody stick around because up next, we're going to continue with Inside the Newsroom. I know we were talking about Boredom Busters, but let's go back to Inside the Newsroom. Tomorrow is going to be a very important day for all of our newsroom staff members, as there will be a prison special session vote. Special session vote. I'm going to have to get used to that before tomorrow. So we're going to look at a little preview into that because we will be live streaming that entire session. So stay with us. A reporter is joining us next on Inside the Newsroom with more details. And welcome back to Inside the Newsroom. On Tuesday, which is tomorrow, KELOLAND News will live stream the legislative special session, where lawmakers will vote on a proposed new men's prison plan. KELOLAND News will be all hands on deck with this coverage, ranging from broadcast to digital reporters, including our very own Ray Yost, who joins me now as we preview this important vote. Ray, why is our attention on this special session vote right now, and what is expected to take place tomorrow?
Well, our attention's on it, as you said, because we're looking to build as a state a $650 million prison project. And this would replace a men's prison in Sioux Falls that is more than 100 years old. So it's a big expenditure, and it's the first one, a new one in a really, really long time.
Right. And what do we know about this actual proposed prison plan that lawmakers will be voting on?
Well, there's a $650 million cap, and that includes construction and some other related, costs. Within that, it's 1,500 total beds, and, there's 1,500 total beds, but about 300 or so would be in a dorm-style facility, which is kind of a minimum security structure, a little bit different than maybe what you see with the barbed wires and stuff, but that's going to be around, the fencing is going to be around the whole facility. Yeah, so, there's a lot of pieces to it. There's T-shaped pods, is what I would call them, which is a little different than maybe the some other plans. But it's going to house the roughly 1,500 total inmates.
And your story that you're working on tonight kind of also previews what's going to happen tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it does. So what I'm doing today is looking back. We've had a lot of prison discussion past 1.5 years and pretty steady since February when an original $825 million project failed to get full funding. So I'm going to go back and take a look, not necessarily at the legislative action, but just some of the discussions, because really discussion started for this phase, I would call it, probably back in 19 or 20 with some studies that were kicked into gear and some other talk about prison policies, reforms, facilities, evaluations, those kinds of things.
And you're going to be a part of the coverage that's going on tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I am. So I'm not going to be out in Pierre. We have Dan and Bob out there, and then we're doing some digital desk coverage. But from my end, I'm going to be listening to the sessions. The House and Senate will both hear the proposal and basically kind of writing as we hear it. So updating the website story throughout the session tomorrow.
Right. Ray, thank you so much for offering your details going into tomorrow. And again, KELOLAND News will be live streaming this special session vote tomorrow, September 23rd, starting at 9 in the morning. You can watch this live stream right here on KELOLAND Plus or online at KELOLAND.com. As Ray said, we will be providing updates and walking through the legislative process during the live stream and online as we watch whether or not the proposed prison plan will get the 2/3 support that it needs to pass. And that's all the time that we have today for Inside the Newsroom. Thank you for watching, and until next time, have a great day, everyone.